I proposed to Sasha in the middle of a thunderstorm. It wasn't the plan. I had a picnic set up, a whole cheesy playlist, even champagne cooling in a damn Yeti cooler. But the weather flipped, and we ended up sheltering in my truck, drenched, laughing, her mascara smudged and my shirt sticking to my back. I pulled the ring out anyway, water dripping off my nose, and she said yes through tears. That was 2 years ago. We'd been together for 4 at that point, comfortable, solid. I'm a residential electrician, been with the same company since I was 23. She worked in digital marketing. We talked about a fixer-upper, maybe kids in a few years. I thought I knew her. I thought I knew everything. 3 months ago, I got home from a job early. She wasn't expecting me. I walked in to find her sitting on the couch in total silence, no TV, no music, just staring at her phone. She looked like someone had died. When she looked up, I knew it was bad. Her face just changed. I asked if she was okay, and she started crying. Ugly crying. And then, piece by piece, she told me everything. She'd been seeing her ex Jonathan. From high school. The guy she used to say was toxic and emotionally immature. Turns out they reconnected at her high school reunion last year. I didn't go. I had a job the next morning and told her to have fun. They'd been meeting up secretly for months. Coffee. Drinks. Then more. She said she never meant for it to happen, that it just kind of evolved, and that Jonathan reminded her of who she used to be. Whatever the hell that meant. And then she dropped the bomb. He proposed. And I said yes. I didn't hear anything after that. I remember staring at the wall behind her. There was this framed photo of us from New Year's, her in that red dress she loved, me in a tie she bought me. I just stared at it while she packed a bag. She kept saying, I didn't want to hurt you, like that made it better. She left that night. For years, just gone. No fight. No closure. Just a slammed door and the smell of her shampoo still hanging in the hallway. The next morning I went to work like a zombie. Stripped wire, mounted panels, smiled when my apprentice cracked jokes. But inside, everything felt scorched. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just stopped feeling anything at all. Over the next few days, the calls started coming in. Her mom, her sister, even her cousin Carla, who I barely knew. All of them just wanted to check in. But it didn't take long for the real message to come out. We're so happy Sasha finally followed her heart. Followed her heart. Like I was some kind of pit stop on her way to enlightenment. The worst was her dad, Tom. We used to watch football together. He once told me I was the kind of man every father hopes his daughter finds. He left me a voicemail saying, no hard feelings, buddy. Life's too short to be with the wrong person. Be happy for her. I didn't respond to any of them. Not because I didn't have words, but because the words I wanted to say would burn every bridge in sight. Instead, I sat on my apartment floor, surrounded by boxes of her stuff she hadn't picked up yet, wondering how long it would take before I stopped checking the door like a dog waiting for its owner to come home. Sasha didn't even wait a week before sending someone to get her things. Not her. Not even a text. Just a guy with a truck. Jonathan, I assumed, though I didn't care enough to confirm. He knocked like he was the pizza guy, didn't even say his name, just handed me a list of what she wanted and waited while I loaded it all up. Her books. Her clothes. Her favorite stupid mug that said, not today, Satan. Everything she once said made our place feel like home. I handed him the last box and he nodded once. No thanks. No eye contact. Just peeled off in that too shiny BMW and left me standing there with an echo in my chest. After that, the silence became routine. Days bled together. Work, sleep, repeat. I deleted her photos from my phone but couldn't bring myself to take the framed ones off the shelf. I don't know why. Some part of me needed the proof that it all actually happened, that I hadn't imagined the life we built. What I didn't expect was how her family kept reaching out like nothing was wrong, like I should just shake it off and clap for her. Her sister Michelle called again and said, you know, Sasha really wrestled with this. It wasn't easy. I said nothing. She added, but don't you think everyone deserves to be truly happy? I finally snapped. If Jonathan makes her happy, great. But don't come to me for a round of applause just because she cheated with better branding. Michelle hung up. But the real kicker came 2 weeks later. Sasha called. First time since that night. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail, her voice all chipper like we were still friends or something. Hey Alex, I hope you're doing okay. I wanted to ask you something kind of awkward, but I thought maybe we could talk it through like adults. I should have deleted it right then. But I listened. I know it's a big ask, but Jonathan and I are planning a destination wedding, and things are kind of tight financially right now. I was wondering if you'd be willing to help out a little? Not a lot. Just a small loan to get things rolling. I mean, You always said you wanted me to have the wedding of my dreams. I laughed. Out loud. Alone in my apartment. A dry, ugly laugh that didn't even sound human. She wanted me, the man she lied to, cheated on, discarded like a torn receipt, to bankroll her fairy tale with the guy she left me for. I didn't call her back. I sent a single text, never contact me again. She replied with, wow. I thought you were better than this. Better than what? Than having basic dignity? Than not setting myself on fire so she could have a prettier honeymoon? The absurdity of it all started to peel back the grief. I stopped crying in the shower. Stopped checking her socials. I even boxed up the last of the photos. What used to be sacred started to feel cheap. The final straw came when her mom, Deb, sent me an email with a GoFundMe link. No message. Just the link. I clicked it out of morbid curiosity. There it was, help Sasha and Jonathan celebrate their love. I didn't even finish reading it. I blocked the entire family. That night, I sat on my balcony with a beer, staring out at nothing, and whispered, thank you. Not to them. To whatever force ripped her out of my life before I married someone who saw me as disposable. They thought they'd broken me, but all they did was set me free. After I blocked her family, it got quiet. Not peaceful. Not yet. But quiet in that hollow, echoing way grief always is, like someone turned the volume down on the world and left you sitting in the static. I wasn't sleeping much. I'd wake up at 2 a.m., stare at the ceiling, then scroll through my phone until sunrise. I wasn't looking for anything in particular. Just trying to fill the space where Sasha used to be. She'd always fall asleep first, curled into me like a question mark. Now the bed felt too big, the sheets too cold. But slowly, the pain started changing shape. At first, it was sharp, rage, humiliation, disbelief. I replayed every conversation we'd ever had, looking for signs, clues, anything that would have warned me. Then it turned dull, like a bruise that wouldn't fade. That stage was worse. Because that's when I started asking myself the real questions. Why didn't I see it coming? Was I too comfortable? Too trusting? Too boring? I remember one night, sitting on the floor of my living room, holding a photo of us from a friend's wedding. She was wearing green, laughing at something I said. I looked happy. She looked distracted. I stared at that picture until I started seeing everything I'd missed back then. The way she leaned away slightly. The way her smile never quite reached her eyes. She'd been fading from us long before she told me the truth. I just didn't want to believe it. Work helped. Pulling wire through crawl spaces, rewiring old houses, it was simple, clean. Wires don't lie. You either connect them right, or things don't work. I started picking up extra shifts, saying yes to every weekend job. I needed the distraction. But even then, she kept finding ways to slither back into my orbit. Mutual friends would drop hints. Saw Sasha the other day, she seemed kinda off. Or worse, she mentioned you. Said she still cares about you, deep down. As if I was supposed to be flattered. One friend, Jordan, sent me a screenshot of a post Sasha had made on Instagram. It was a black and white photo of a rain-soaked street, captioned, "Some choices haunt you." I blocked her there too. I wasn't going to be her emotional safety net. Not when she tossed me aside the second something shinier came along. I wasn't going to be her plan B when her fantasy turned out to have teeth. Because the whispers were starting. Jonathan wasn't the dream she'd sold everyone. Word was he'd been cheating already, nights he didn't come home, texts she wasn't allowed to read. Someone said he shoved her during an argument at a party. Another said she left a bridal boutique in tears. I didn't take pleasure in any of it. Okay, that's not true. A small, petty part of me felt something like satisfaction. Not because I wanted her to suffer, but because I wanted me to stop feeling like the disposable one. Like the one who wasn't enough. I was finally starting to understand something. Her betrayal wasn't about me. It was about her. Her need for drama. For reinvention. For nostalgia, she dressed up as destiny. And me? I was just the guy who didn't fit the fantasy. But now, I was free to build something real. With or without anyone else. I started going to the gym again. Cooked actual meals instead of takeout. Went hiking. Got my first full night's sleep in weeks. The ghosts were still there. But they were quieter. And then, one night, she called again. No voicemail this time. Just the missed call. I didn't answer. I wouldn't answer again. The next time she called, it wasn't a missed call. It was 9:47 p.m. on a Thursday. I'd just gotten out of the shower and was making a late dinner, grilled cheese, nothing fancy. The phone lit up on the counter. Sasha. I just stared at it, the sizzle of the pan filling the room. I don't know why I answered. Maybe I was curious. Maybe I wanted to hear her voice and remind myself why I left it behind. Her voice cracked as soon as she said my name. Alex. I know I'm the last person you want to hear from. She sounded smaller. Fragile. Not the Sasha I remembered, confident, sharp, always in control. This was someone else. Someone unraveling. I messed everything up, she said. Jonathan's not who I thought he was. It's been really bad. I just didn't know who else to call. I didn't say anything. I'm not asking for anything, she added quickly. I needed someone who actually knew me. I finally spoke. I don't know you anymore, Sasha. She went quiet. Then, quietly, I miss you. I hung up. The next day, she texted me a photo of a bruise on her wrist. No caption. Just the image. I deleted it. She kept trying. Voice messages. More texts. One of them said, "You were right about him. I should have listened to you." Another said, "I still love you." I was just scared. She even showed up at my job site one morning. I was in the driveway of a 2-story build, wiring floodlights, when I saw her car pull up across the street. She just stood there. No makeup, hair in a messy bun, arms crossed like she was bracing for a storm. My coworker, Sean, looked from her to me. "You want me to handle that?" I shook my head. Walked over. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "Can we talk?" she asked. "We've done enough talking." She bit her lip. "I made a mistake. You made a choice," I corrected. "And now you don't like the consequences." Her eyes welled up. "He cheated. He lies about everything. He hit me, Alex." I believed her. I didn't need proof. Jonathan had always felt slimy. The few times we crossed paths before, he talked to me like I was a gas station cashier holding up his day. But that didn't mean I owed her anything. "I'm sorry that happened," I said. "I really am. But that doesn't change what you did." She stepped closer. "I just want to go back. I want to feel safe again." I took a step back. "I'm not your safety net. I'm not your backup plan. I'm not your home base." She cried then. Real tears. Not the manipulative kind. Not crocodile. But it didn't matter. I walked back to my van and drove away. That night, I sat on the couch and realized something. I wasn't angry anymore. Not numb, not bitter. Just done. She could cry, beg, collapse on my doorstep. It didn't matter. The version of me that would have dropped everything to save her? He was buried under the wreckage she left behind. And someone new was starting to take his place. Someone who knew his worth. Someone who didn't need to be needed by the wrong person. I met Jade at the grocery store. No, seriously. I was in the produce section, trying to figure out whether the avocado I was squeezing was ripe or just mushy as hell, and she laughed. "Don't go by feel," she said, reaching over. "Go by the little nub on top. If it flicks off easy, it's ready." I blinked at her, caught off guard by the confidence, the friendliness. She had this easy energy, like she wasn't trying to impress me, just didn't mind making someone's day less weird. We ended up talking for 15 minutes next to the bananas. By the end of it, she asked if I wanted to grab coffee sometime. I said yes without thinking. And that's how it started, simple, accidental, no drama. We took it slow. I didn't want to bring my mess into her life. So I told her the truth early on about Sasha, the cheating, the betrayal, the emotional fallout. She listened without judgment. Just asked, "What did you learn from all of it?" No one had asked me that before. Being with Jade was like exhaling after holding my breath for too long. She didn't play games. She didn't compare me to exes or keep emotional scorecards. She asked how my day was, and meant it. She remembered the names of my coworkers. She bought snacks for my dog, even though she's allergic and can't come inside. She felt like calm in a world that had been spinning sideways. Meanwhile, Sasha kept trying to force her way back in. Emails. Anonymous social accounts. Voicemails where she'd start crying halfway through and hang up. A handwritten letter showed up in my mailbox one morning. It wasn't long, just 3 pages, but it was pure Sasha. Flowery. Dramatic. Full of half apologies and grand statements like, "I didn't know what I had until I lost it." I didn't read past the second page. Jade saw it on my table later that night. "Is this her?" I nodded. She didn't ask me to throw it away. Didn't get jealous. She just looked me in the eye and said, "You don't owe anyone your peace." That stuck with me. One Friday night, I came home from work to find Sasha sitting on the steps outside my apartment building. Hair wet from the rain. Shaking. Crying. I froze. I hadn't seen her in weeks, not since she showed up at my job. She looked up and whispered, "Please, Alex. I don't have anywhere else to go." I didn't move. "You always made me feel safe," she said. I thought I wanted excitement, but all I found was fear. I thought of how many nights I'd cried over her, how I questioned my worth, doubted my instincts, blamed myself for her choices. Then I thought of Jade, standing beside me in the checkout line, flicking avocado stems and laughing at my indecision. I finally spoke. I hope you get help. Real help. But you can't find it here. Her lip trembled. You're really just going to leave me out here? You already left me, I said. I'm just honoring it. And I walked past her. Into my building. Into my life. I didn't look back. Not that night. Not ever. I thought that night on the stairs would be the last of it. But Sasha had one more trick up her sleeve. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was helping Jade put together a bookshelf in her new apartment. Just one of those slow, lazy days filled with coffee and bad instructions. My phone buzzed once. Then again. I ignored it. We were covered in sawdust, laughing because I just drilled a shelf upside down. Then someone knocked. 3 short, sharp hits. I opened the door, still holding a screwdriver in one hand. Sasha. And behind her, Deb. Her mother stood stiff, arms folded across her chest, lips pressed so tight they disappeared into her face. Sasha looked even worse than the last time. Hollow eyes. Cheeks sunken. But her expression was focused, like this was rehearsed. We need to talk, Deb said, pushing past me before I could react. Jade appeared behind me, towel in hand. Everything okay? Deb turned to her like she was swatting away a fly. This doesn't concern you. Jade didn't flinch. This is my apartment. Sasha cleared her throat. I'm sorry, Jade. I didn't know where else to go. You already did this, I said. Outside my building. It didn't work then, either. Deb stepped in. Alex, don't you think it's time to stop being cruel? Sasha's been through hell. You think we wanted her to end up with a man like Jonathan? I kept my voice calm. No. But you did cheer her on while she left me for him. That's not fair, Sasha whispered. You're right, I said. Fair would have been telling me the truth before you got engaged to someone else. Deb rolled her eyes. People make mistakes. No, I said. People make choices. And now you're asking me to pretend they didn't happen. Sasha stepped forward. I don't want to pretend. I want to fix it. There's nothing to fix, I told her. You didn't just break trust. You buried it, spit on it, and lit it on fire. I still love you, she said. I never stopped. I felt Jade move behind me like a quiet anchor. And for the first time, I felt angry. Not heartbroken. Not devastated. Just insulted. Because Sasha really believed she could rewrite history. That she could walk back into my life and press undo on the chaos she caused. I looked at Deb. You raised a daughter who thinks love is a reset button. Deb's face darkened. Don't you dare talk about my parenting. Then don't show up at your ex-future son-in-law's door begging for a do-over. Sasha started crying again. But I didn't care. Not anymore. I turned to Jade. Can you hand me the rest of the screws? She nodded, walked past them both, and shut the door with gentle finality. Through the wood, I could still hear Sasha's voice. You're making a mistake. I wanted to laugh. Because for the first time in a long time, I knew I wasn't. They didn't come back after that. No more calls. No more letters. No more staged ambushes or sob stories. I guess they finally realized the door wasn't just closed. It was locked, bolted, and bricked over. The silence was different this time. It didn't feel empty. It felt earned. Jade and I finished that bookshelf. We stood back, admired it like we'd just constructed a skyscraper. She threw her arm around my shoulder and said, Not bad, Electric Man. I smiled. For the first time in months, it wasn't forced. We took things one day at a time. No pressure. No grand declarations. Just small, meaningful moments that stacked up like bricks, building something solid. Safe. I stopped checking over my shoulder. I stopped measuring Jade against Sasha's ghost. I stopped asking myself what I could have done differently because the truth is, I did everything right. I loved fully. I was loyal. I showed up. And it wasn't enough for someone who didn't know what she wanted. But it's more than enough for someone who does. Sometimes I still think about how close I came to marrying Sasha. To spending my life with someone who saw me as a backup plan. I think about the version of me who would have forgiven her if she'd come back soon enough. The guy who would have mistaken her regret for love. That guy's gone. He died the night she walked out with a bag and a promise to follow her heart. Good riddance. A few weeks ago, I ran into Jordan at a bar. He gave me a hug, said, Man, I heard about everything. I don't know how you stayed so chill. I laughed. I wasn't chill. I just learned to let the fire burn without jumping in. He shook his head. Still, you're better off. He's right. I'm not angry anymore. Not even at Sasha. She was chasing something that didn't exist. Nostalgia. The idea of a love story that felt more like a movie than real life. But real love isn't fireworks and chaos. It's trust. It's consistency. It's showing up when no one's watching. Jade and I recently took a weekend trip to the mountains. Nothing fancy, just a cabin, a fireplace, and the kind of quiet that fills you up instead of hollowing you out. One morning, she was making coffee, wrapped in my hoodie, humming off-key. And I just stood there, watching her, feeling this warmth in my chest that I hadn't felt since, ever. This wasn't revenge. It wasn't moving on to prove a point. It was something better. Peace. And if Sasha ever wonders what could have been, I hope she remembers this. Some people don't come back because they're punishing you. They don't come back because they finally love themselves enough to leave the wreckage behind. And I did. I loved her. Then I loved myself more.